All right, so President Trump has now admitted himself that he doesn't need to listen to Congress. A reporter asked President Trump if it requires an act of Congress to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War, like the President Trump wants to do, and Trump said, "We're just going to do it. I'm sure Congress will go along." This is not how a president functions. This is more like how a king functions. For the president of the United States to say, "We'll just do it and Congress will deal." No, the president doesn't get to make up rules and say Congress will just go along. The president has to follow the law. I don't know why this is so difficult or why this is actually coming up right now, where the president of the United States is saying, "I don't have to listen to Congress," and the Congress does nothing. Are any of the Republicans in Congress embarrassed that President Trump doesn't think they're important, doesn't think they're a co-equal branch? Listen to this and tell me if you think this is reasonable.
Or how do you plan to do that? It requires an act of Congress to rename the Defense Department to the Department of War.
We're just going to do it. I'm sure Congress will go along if we need that. I don't think we even need that, but if we need that, I'm sure Congress will go along.
It makes absolutely no sense. As a member of the United States Congress, you get a vested pension after only 5 years of service. That's right. Can you believe that? After only 5 years of service, you get a vested pension in the year 2025. Now, it's only about $10,000 a year for only 5 years of service, but obviously if you serve more time, let's say you serve 20 years, now you're closer to $40,000 a year in pension. Now, how many of you watching this have a pension in the year 2025? Not many companies are offering that much at all in any company right now. They also get, members of Congress get a 401k match up to 5%. So they get the pension, they get the 401k. Oh, and by the way, they get lots of vacation time. They get ready to take off the whole month of August, by the way, every year. And they make $174,000 a year salary. So it's interesting to me that the taxpayer is funding the United States members of Congress who have much better benefits than the people, the taxpayer, in the private sector. Actually, it's unbelievable.
All right, well, that is a wrap on the 118th Congress. I am leaving the building. We just passed a continuing resolution package after a lot of drama for the last 48 hours. It included funding to get us through the holidays and the end of the year until March. It included some of the provisions we had negotiated on a bipartisan basis, including funding for the Navajo Gallup pipeline and the Herman's Peak Calf Canyon disaster relief. It included extensions of the Farm Bill that were really important for our farmers and ranchers and for food assistance, and it included disaster relief. And very importantly, it did not include the 11th hour ploy by Donald Trump and Elon Musk to try to force us to take up the debt ceiling so that they could give tax breaks to their wealthy buddies. So all's well that ends well. Democracy wins, thank goodness, before the holidays. We're so proud of the work that we did. We stood strong. Democrats stood together. We got a bipartisan deal across the finish line. And in addition to that, we also got an outdoor recreation bill passed yesterday on a bipartisan basis in the Senate. It's on its way to the president's desk. It includes a fantastic bill we've been working on to increase accessibility to our national parks and recreation areas for our veterans and people living with disabilities. We got water projects funded through the Water Resources Development Act, including for Estancia, Bosque Farms, and Bernalillo in the middle Rio Grande. And we even got language in the NDAA to help with munitions cleanup for Isleta Pueblo. And our active duty military are going to get a pay raise because of the incredible work of all of our colleagues here in the House. So it's been a big year, a lot of drama. We're glad to call it a wrap, and I will see you guys all on the other side. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys all soon.
So as you guys know, I have been trying to prepare you for the special elections in 2026 specifically because there are a lot of seats up for re-election. However, there are special elections that are still going on in 2025, and I want to send your attention there. First and foremost, Iowa girl. You did your big one. You did your ones and your twos. You just had a special election for the Iowa Senate. That is the state Senate. And y'all just got done from breaking that supermajority. The Republicans was out here with 2/3 of Congress. I know they was wreaking havoc out there. I know they was wreaking havoc out there. But you Iowa Democrats, y'all flipped that seat. Y'all flipped that seat. And now in the House, Senate, there are 17 Democrat seats. There are 33 Republican seats. For those that do not understand how Congress works, right? So state Congress is mirrored after federal Congress, okay? And there are two different votes that you'd have to do. One is to send someone to the U.S. House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate, which make up the Congress at the federal level, or you're going to be voting for state senators, for senators of the state Congress, which is going to be both either the House of Representatives at the state level or the Senate at the state level. So Iowa just voted in another Democrat for their state level Senate. This is why it's very important. Local elections will impact your life a whole lot quicker than federal elections, okay? So you need to vote in both. You need to vote in both. One is not more important than the other. Both of them are equally as important, but if you were just like, Tori, which one will make the biggest impact the quickest? Local, state, that governor, that mayor, that state legislature, that state deputy of whatever, yeah, they're going to touch you first. They're going to change things immediately in your neighborhood, in your locality, in your city, in your township, in your county. That's what they impact, okay? And sometimes, when it comes down to the federal government, a lot of people that study politics knows that you feel the impacts of the prior administration after they're out of office or towards the end of their term. That's when you really start feeling things, okay? So it's more delayed at the federal level. There are a lot of special elections that are coming up. What I want you to do is I want you to look and see what special elections are happening in your area, which brings me to the DMV. Fairfax, Virginia, Northern Virginia, all of Virginia, tune your ear. There is a federal election for a House of Representatives seat at the federal level. Are you hearing me? It is September the 9th. It is September the 9th. Call off work, honey. Be late. Go in with breakfast. I need you at the polls. I need you at the polls, ladies and gentlemen. Don't play. Now is not the time, okay? I don't care what's happening on that day. I need you to find your way September the 9th to the booth. I need you to get in the booth. And I need you to vote what? Blue. Act like you know. I need you to vote blue. Why? Because we're trying to get this under order, okay? We're trying to get this together. And so when it comes down to the balance of powers, you have to understand that there are some things that could help us be shielded from the atrocity of this administration by going ahead and voting in the right people inside of that Congress, okay? So that's what you need to focus on. A lot of these Congress members will begin to do a lot of things to cause you to forget the craziness that you've been through for the past, 8 months? Going on 9? I need you to pay attention. I need you to pay attention. I don't need you to lose focus. I need you specifically to figure out who has special elections next year in your state at the federal level and at the local level. And I need you to watch them like a hawk. I mean, when it comes down to voting, I need you to pull what they voted for and what they voted against. I need you to remind yourself of what they're doing. Now, the interesting part is that in all of these special elections, majority of the special elections since the presidential election last November have been won by Democrats. I can tell people getting sick of it. I love to see it. What I need you to do is not lose steam or lose focus. I don't care what happens in pop culture. I don't care what happens around the world. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. I need you to stay on task, okay? Stay on task. And right now, our task is to focus on the special elections. I don't care what's going on in Washington, D.C. I don't care what this man tried to do, who he tried to send, what's going on with nothing. Do you hear me? An atomic bomb could go off on the other side of the world. I want you to look at it and recenter your focus back to these special elections, because that's what we're going to be focused on. All right? So once again, for Virginia, the governor called a special election. That election's taking place on 9/9/2025, honey. That's in a couple weeks. 2 weeks to be specific, if I'm not mistaken. I need you to go to the booth and vote blue. Act like you know.
It makes absolutely no sense. As a member of the United States Congress, you get a vested pension after only 5 years of service. That's right. Can you believe that? After only 5 years of service, you get a vested pension in the year 2025. Now, it's only about $10,000 a year for only 5 years of service, but obviously if you serve more time, let's say you serve 20 years, now you're closer to $40,000 a year in pension. Now, how many of you watching this have a pension in the year 2025? Not many companies are offering that much at all in any company right now. They also get, members of Congress get a 401k match up to 5%. So they get the pension, they get the 401k. Oh, and by the way, they get lots of vacation time. They get ready to take off the whole month of August, by the way, every year. And they make $174,000 a year salary. So it's interesting to me that the taxpayer is funding the United States members of Congress who have much better benefits than the people, the taxpayer, in the private sector. Actually, it's unbelievable.
Why did the U.S. Congress give Netanyahu, a war criminal, 20 standing ovations? Not because he's noble, not because he's moral, not because he defends democracy. He doesn't. They stood because he serves empire. He bulldozes homes, he bombs hospitals, he cages children, he violates international law every day. And Congress loves him for it, because he's doing their dirty work. Israel is the outpost, America is the empire, and Netanyahu, he's the gatekeeper of control in the Middle East. That's what those standing ovations were for: oil, weapons, power, apartheid. They didn't clap for justice, they clapped for genocide, and history will remember.
Let me tell you what makes absolutely no sense. A sitting member of Congress voting against a bill that would ban stock trading for members of Congress because it would make the job unattractive. Can you believe that? Well, that's what Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin said a few weeks ago when he was going to vote against a bill sponsored by Josh Hawley of Missouri that would outlaw stock trading for members of Congress. Absolutely insane. I mean, why would they want to do that, right? Why would they want to ban stock trading? Well, I guess they want more rich people to run, which already happens already. And they want to make more money because they didn't actually run for office to serve their local community, serve their local city, serve their local state. They didn't do it for the goodness to actually serve. They did it to actually make more money than they've already made. I mean, if you don't know, Ron Johnson of Wisconsin's worth billions and billions of dollars here. So he wants to have more, I guess he needs to make more money. I guess he wants more rich people to come into office. How is that working out for us? Right now, Congress, year after year, their approval ratings at 10, 15%. I don't think I want more of that. I think maybe we need a change. And this is the other reason we need term limits, is stuff like this. Members of Congress, or people run for office, people that have money already, they run for office, they don't serve, they make it a career, they stay in office. It's just like Ron Johnson when he ran 10, 15 years ago, promising to, not have term limits. Well, here we are in whatever term he's in now. And they do that time and time again. Ted Cruz did it too a couple years ago. We need term limits, and they just keep serving. And so now he's against stock trading because it would not allow more, it would make the job unattractive to, I guess, other wealthy people. It's insane. It's insane. If you want to make money, stay in the private sector. If you want to serve and actually give back to your community, give back to your country, serve in Congress. I mean, can you imagine the founders of this country? Do you think they would have a time where people were actually running for Congress to actually make more money? I mean, how else do you think Nancy Pelosi in 2024 had a 71% return, stock portfolio return, versus the S&P 500, which had a 25% return? I mean, That's insane. So she beat the S&P 500 by 46%? You think she's just that good at stock trading? You think her husband's just that good at stock trading? Do you know that the Democratic Party, the members of Congress from the Democratic Party, had a 31% return on their stock portfolio in 2024? Do you know the Republicans had a 26% return on their stock portfolio return in 2024? Both parties beat the S&P 500. Are they just geniuses? Is that what's going on here? I mean, there's a reason why they want a bill on stock trading. There's a reason why. I mean, you have time and time again, you have people going to Congress making a certain wage, $174,000 a year, and then coming out and they're all, multi-millionaires, 100 millionaires like Pelosi. So thanks, Ron Johnson. That's insane. I think that what you said makes it even more clear that we need a ban on stock trading. And I think it makes it even more clear we need a term limits for Congress, something you ran on, something you went against, you stayed in office, and that's what needs to happen.
I wrote letters to Congress, House, Governor. I even wrote a letter to my native corporation. I haven't followed through with my native tribe yet. I'm actually withdrawing from my original tribe that I was enrolled in. We write letters to the Anchorage Assembly, those 7 people that voted in favor to criminalize homelessness. I write letters to them. You get loud. You start advocating. You start sharing your story. When you start sharing and advocating, you'll realize that it brings healing to yourself too. That's what's going on with me. As I'm starting to share and advocate, it brings healing to other people, and it brings healing to myself. That's what we need to do. We need to be loud. We need to make sure that those people up there that are making money off of us, we need to make sure that they know that we know.
For decades, Congress has hollowed out the American middle class, and they did it with full knowledge. In 1999, they killed Glass-Steagall, letting Wall Street gamble with your savings. In 2000, they deregulated derivatives, lighting the fuse on the housing crash. In 2005, they passed bankruptcy law that protected Wall Street and punished working people. All the while, they let predatory lending spiral out of control until the system collapsed in 2008. They didn't just look away. They helped write the playbook. They tied the hands of unions but gave corporations free rein. No guardrails, no stock buybacks, no real antitrust enforcement. Monopolies have exploded, and the workers have gotten crushed. Then came the deals with NAFTA, China's WTO entry, Fast Track Authority, all sold as free trade, all designed to offshore your job for a campaign donation. Congress knew, and they did nothing. Today, Donald Trump is doing his part. He's hitting back with tariffs and trade deals that finally cut down our trade deficits. But let's be honest, we're one election away from going straight back to the sellout status quo. If we don't lock it in, we lose it. I'm Brian Sprague. I'm running for Congress in Texas District 12. Elect me, and I'll work with the few honest members left to lock in pro-worker trade policies for 10 lifetimes. Pass laws that protect the middle class and punish corporate sellouts that ship jobs overseas. And I will shine a blinding sunlight on every grubby backroom deal that trades American jobs for campaign cash. No more loopholes, no more vague laws, no more economic sabotage dressed up as policy. Together, we will make Congress transparent again. Head to bs4texas.com, and if you're ready to fight back, chip in $25 to fuel this mission. God bless you, God bless Texas, and God bless the red, white, and blue.
So what can the U.S. do when it has a leader who has a lock on Congress, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, meaning it has the majority seats and votes in both houses, which means they cannot impeach him and get him out of office because his party and constituents have a loyalty to him, the leader, and not the people or the Constitution. Unfortunately, this is a perfect situation for a leader who wants to be an authoritarian and has no regard for the U.S. Constitution. So what does this leader do? He put his loyalists in key positions in the various institutions like the Department of Justice and the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And because he has a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court in favor of conservatives, that check and balance is also not available to the people or the Constitution. So what's America to do? People often state and warn our military that they swore to serve, defend, honor, protect the United States and the Constitution, and not a man, not the president. But how much can they do when they don't have the law on their side? When if they try to uphold the Constitution without the law on their side, it's probably most likely just going to get them locked up. Unless there's a very significant amount that are willing to take that risk all at the same time. People want to know why people are just waiting around for the 2026 elections. Probably because it's looking like that's the only alternative. Unfortunately, a lot of things are continuously being put in place by the administration to weaken and undermine people's vote in the election system that may not even be a viable option. But yet still, it looks like it is, at this time, unfortunately, the only option. Do you agree or disagree? Sound off in the comments.